Okay, Paul here in Chiang Mai, coming at you with a YouTube vlog on Paris Saint-Germain's 4-0 win over Football Club Barcelona at the Parc des Princes in the first leg of the Champions League last 16 last night, as the Parisians broke the hearts of the Catalans on Valentine's Day. So, wow, I mean, this game felt almost, epochal. There was something really, it felt like there was something important really happening here, sort of a changing of the guard. Paris just completely swept Barca away, dominated them from start to finish. Now, before I start on the story of the match, and then after the story of the match, looking at the sort of game narrative and analysis, that PSG could beat Barca on the first leg wasn't that big of a shock to me. I actually predicted a 2-1 win for Paris on the night. I won a 100 baht bet as well on that, so just point that out. I found it funny just watching the BT Sport pundits, Rio Ferdinand, Gerrard, and I forget who the other one was. They all just went with, that was Glenn Hoddle, they all went with Barca. Just, you can't look past the front three, you can't look past that front three. Well, no, look, if you actually did a modicum of pre-game preparation and looked at how strong Paris are right now and how well they've been playing, you would have seen that this was 50-50 tie. Look, in terms of historical clout, it's Barca were the absolute favourites. They've won, 4 Champions Leagues in the last 8 years or whatever it is. But you've got to look at momentum, and this Paris Saint-Germain team have been coming. They've been in the long grass for several years now. And unlike the first 2 times they played Barca in knockout ties, when Barca were reigning supreme, hegemonic in Europe, the tables have slightly shifted since then. Barca on a downward spiral and in a bit of a crisis of identity, whereas PSG, I mean, look at their squad. They've got Julian fucking Draxler. They just bought him in January. They've got Hatem Ben Arfa on the bench. They've never been stronger in terms of strength and depth. And this looks like their perfect storm. This looks like a real perfect moment for them to creep up and get into the semi-final and possibly the final and possibly win it. Why not? There's no outstanding favourite this year. There's no outstanding great team in Europe this season. So yeah, just to point out that I wasn't actually particularly shocked that PSG could beat Barca on the night, but it was the manner in which they beat them. So emphatic, so dominant, man to man. They just smashed Barca all over the pitch, and there were some really telling individual battles, such as Verratti on Iniesta, Kimpembe making his Champions League debut at France under-20 international, kept Leo Messi in his, say it quietly, he kept Leo Messi in his pocket the whole match. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, a feeling of an epochal shift here. So yeah, let's get on to, I'll just have a quick run at the Barca lineup. Ter Stegen in goal, Jordi Alba, Umtiti and Piqué and Sergio Roberto, who had a nightmare at right back. Barca midfield free of Busquets, Iniesta and Andre Gomez, and the front three up front, Messi, Suarez, Neymar. And Messi, Suarez, Neymar, look, this is the problem with this Barca. There's too much dependent and hope upon that they'll just produce magic. They're not going to be able to do it every night, especially at difficult places like Parc des Princes. And, Iniesta and Busquets are still 2 of the best players in the world in their positions. Iniesta's been formidable this season, even as 31 years of age or 32. But, they're both just back from injury, so Barca were really vulnerable in there for the taking last night, because, for them to have any chance last night, they really had to have a really strong in Iniesta and Busquets. Paris just completely exploited that weakness. They were tearing into them like piranhas. Matuidi and Adrien Rabiot, the barista hipster in the Paris midfield. I mean, the PSG midfield is quite possibly the best in the Champions League right now, alongside Marco Verratti, who really bossed Andres Iniesta. I mean, Verratti was arguably the man of the match. Angel Di Maria, Edinson Cavani was absolutely brilliant as well. The game was sort of billed as a two hotshot Uruguayan goleadors, both from Salto, the second biggest city in Uruguay, and it was definitely Cavani who won that battle. Suarez was nowhere to be seen. Messi had his worst game possibly ever. he was actually at fault. You know, not just that he was quiet, but he was at fault a lot of the time, losing the ball. Yeah, so let's just look at the story of the match. So Paris just started with this intensity, got right up at Barcelona, pushed them high, pressed them high, and actually, you know, knocked on the door a couple of times before they even scored the first goal. The goal was coming. It came through a Di Maria free kick, and there was, if you looked at the Barca wall, it was almost symbolic of Barca's 90 minutes. Chaotic, disorganised and lost. Andre Gomez didn't even seem to be looking in the right direction. Piqué and Suarez were jumping in different directions. So it was a great free kick by Di Maria, but it was also the product of just a chaotic Barcelona defence. And then PSG then doubled their lead through Julian Draxler with a wonderful finish. And the goal stemmed from Leo Messi dropping back into his, you know, sort of midfield role. He was trying to make up and compensate for Barca's lack of legs in midfield last night, but he was too overzealous, coming back in the wrong times and into the wrong places. He was robbed by Rabiot, the barista hipster, who laid it off to Draxler, who laid it off to Verratti. Verratti slipped through the final third of Barca, played it into Draxler, who finished with a plumb past Der Stegen. And it really looked like good night, Irene, already at half time. I said on Twitter that the game could be over by the end of the 90 minutes. I didn't see Barca coming back into it last night. They looked like headless chickens, lost, broken-hearted on Valentine's night. And sure enough, I mean, PSG just cut through them again. Right into the start of the second half, they nearly scored again. And they did get their third then with the goal in a match from Angel Di Maria on his birthday. I mean, the birthday boy spreading out love on Valentine's night with a beautiful whipped curled finish into the top corner. But look, it wasn't just an isolated goal, an isolated top corner finish. It came from PSG being granted and gifted so much space to just drift through. No pressure. There's no tackler there in that midfield. That Barca midfield, there's no tackler. Busquets is an interceptor more than a tackler. Iniesta is an artiste going forward with the ball. Andre Gomez, quite frankly, I don't know what he is. If someone could let me know in the comments what he is, that'd be great. So yeah, and then the fourth goal was arguably the most glaring and worrying from a Barcelona point of view, because PSG's right back Meunier just dribbled half the pitch from right back. No pressure on him, played in Cavani. Cavani atoned for his earlier missed chance to make it 4-0 pour les Parisiens. So look, this tie is over. There's no chance Barca come back. It's never been done in the history of the Champions League. They could produce very much a symbolic and moral victory, remontada, maybe get a 3-1 or a 4-1 maybe at the best of chances, but there's no way they're going through this. And this could, like the 7-0 loss to Bayern in 2013, this could produce a sort of, as the Japanese say, every crisis produces an opportunity. This could produce a turning point and maybe a root and branch look at Barca's situation here, because for too long they've been just floating. For the last 2 years they've been floating on the hope of the MSN. They need to start bringing new midfielders through the academy, through La Masia. Maybe it's time to start gradually phasing Iniesta and Busquets out, because last night a quote came to my mind. I remember Xabi Alonso saying after the 2014 World Cup, quizás el quota del éxito y alegría había agotado. Maybe the quota of joy and happiness had been fulfilled. There's a feeling like every dog has its day. Every great team has those highs nearly and lows, because they don't know how to go out on a high. They can't go out on a high. They're still only 30. They've still got to keep trying. But like Iniesta and Busquets, you can't see them quite getting back to the peak again. It was almost like the 2015 Champions League was the beginning of the end, because you had Suarez and Messi and Neymar in their first year when the euphoria was high. Xavi was still there. That's often forgotten about. Xavi was still there, pulling the strings in midfield and dictating things. Even from the bench, he was like the general, pushing on Iniesta and Busquets. And with just Iniesta and Busquets now, there's a complete hole in midfield. The third midfielder, neither Rakitic or Gomez are anywhere near the level of Xavi. So, you know, maybe it could be a couple of years before, you know, Barca can regroup from this and maybe come back even stronger and build a midfield base with a new type of midfield style. Because right now there is no midfield style. They don't keep the ball. They don't play any possession. They just looked completely lost last night. It was quite a tragic night for Barca. So look, I hope it wasn't too meandering in this vlog. There was a lot to get in. I wanted to get the story of the match, but also get some points and analysis across. I've gone past 10 minutes, which is kind of my limit. So thank you very much for watching this YouTube vlog on Barca's incredible 4-0 defeat to a brilliant Paris Saint-Germain team, who we all should have been aware, and I was aware that they were going to really put up to Barca this time, because they're ready now. They've been coming for a few years. They've been building gradually, and this is their year. This is their time, maybe, to get to the final. Why not? Okay, thank you very much. Subscribe. Ciao, ciao. Watch out for the Spanish vlog coming up.